Hey, let's just jump right in. Welcome to today's explainer, where we're going to unpack a completely fascinating concept from our source material. It's called the 5-minute blueprint for lasting wealth. Get ready, because we're about to completely break down how to fundamentally alter your financial trajectory. And honestly, the absolute best part is the sheer lack of friction involved. We are officially tossing out the complex Wall Street jargon, we're skipping the crushing 80-hour hustle culture work weeks, and we're definitely leaving behind those overwhelming financial models that just make your eyes glaze over. Instead, the source provides us with a highly targeted, highly effective mechanism. We're going to look at exactly why a microscopic daily commitment actually works so much better psychologically than a massive weekend overhaul, and we'll show you exactly how you can start implementing it literally today. So, what if 5 minutes completely changed your financial future? Seriously, let that sink in for a second. In our culture right now, we are so intensely conditioned to believe that building lasting wealth requires this agonizing, endless sacrifice. We just assume we have to spend our entire weekends poring over dense spreadsheets or dedicate every single free night to grinding out a stressful side hustle until we eventually just burn out. Because it feels so monumental, what do? We put it off. But our source material directly challenges that exhausting assumption. It's asking us to stop looking for hours we simply don't have, and instead take a hard look at our daily routines to find just a tiny, easily manageable fraction of our day. Not 5 hours, not 5 years, just 5 minutes. Think about how incredibly fleeting 5 minutes actually is in the grand scheme of your day. I mean, it's the time you spend just scrolling endlessly through streaming menus trying to decide what movie to watch, only to end up putting on reruns of a sitcom you've already seen 10 times, right? Or it's the time you spend staring blankly into the refrigerator hoping new snacks will magically appear. The source makes such a profound point here. Almost nobody is intentionally taking this tiny window of time and applying it purposefully toward their financial future. We so readily let 5 hours slip through our fingers every single week, and then we look back, totally shocked, when 5 years have passed with zero financial progress. But this blueprint zeroes in on a window so unbelievably small, you literally cannot use the excuse that you don't have the time. Let's be honest. Every single day, we effortlessly surrender hours to the algorithmic black hole of social media, just scrolling past content we're going to completely forget by tomorrow morning. We've all fallen down that rabbit hole. Yet, in sharp contrast, we spend absolutely 0 minutes cultivating our financial literacy. Now, this isn't about feeling guilty, it's just a remarkably clear-eyed observation from the source. The time clearly exists in our schedules. We aren't lacking the hours. We're simply choosing to allocate them to digital distractions while leaving our financial education completely bankrupt. When you realize the time is already right there, hiding in plain sight, that barrier to changing your financial reality completely dissolves. So here is the crucial pivot. It requires a simple commitment of just 5 minutes a day. That's it. That is the entire barrier to entry. If you can reclaim just a 5-minute sliver from those hours of endless scrolling, you unlock the absolute foundation of this entire blueprint. And what's really brilliant about this specific time frame is the psychology behind it. Think about it. When you try to change everything overnight, your brain completely resists. You get overwhelmed and you quit. But 5 minutes? 5 minutes is a micro habit. It completely bypasses your brain's alarm bells. It is so short that it actually takes more energy to argue against doing it than it does to just sit down and do it. It's a tiny, frictionless habit that practically guarantees consistency. And when you're consistent, this is where the math gets genuinely mind-blowing. If you commit to that tiny daily window, it compounds dramatically. 5 minutes a day silently adds up to over 30 hours of dedicated financial education every single year. 30 hours! To put that into perspective, that is the equivalent of taking a full, rigorous college-level course. It's basically a full work week at a corporate job dedicated entirely to elevating your financial literacy, all generated solely from the minutes you would have spent just standing there waiting for your coffee to brew. The source underscores a deeply powerful reality here. The knowledge you accumulate in those 30 hours a year is an asset that will continue to pay you dividends for the rest of your life. Which brings us to the core thesis of the wealthy mindset. Money follows value. This is a fundamental law of economics, and it's the ultimate pivot for anyone looking to fundamentally change their financial trajectory. Listen, it's not about secret tricks. It's not about finding some hidden hack or getting lucky with a random stock pick. Wealthy people inherently understand that money is simply a byproduct of the value you put out into the world. In this context, value means your ability to solve complex problems, the rare skills you acquire, or the utility you provide to other people. The more valuable your skill set becomes to the market, the more money just naturally flows your way. You know, we see this play out constantly when we compare the average mindset with the wealthy mindset. The average approach is almost always anchored in desperation. How can I make money fast? And that is a really dangerous trap. It's the exact mindset that leads people to chase fleeting crypto trends, fall for those late night get rich quick schemes, and ultimately lose their hard earned capital. But the wealthy mindset? It's entirely different. It asks a far more empowering question: how can I become more valuable? The source notes that this single paradigm shift changes absolutely everything. Actually, scratch that. It flips the entire economic game in your favor. When you stop exhaustively chasing cash and instead systematically focus on upgrading your own personal software and capabilities, the results are incredible. So how do we practically build that value? Well, this is where the blueprint gets incredibly specific. The source outlines very concrete areas where you should focus those daily 5-minute windows: investing, budgeting, business, and high income skills. But let's break down what a 5-minute micro action actually looks like in the real world. For investing, maybe today's 5 minutes is simply reading the actual definition of an S&P 500 index fund so you finally understand what it really is. Tomorrow, your budgeting 5 minutes could be logging into your banking app and canceling just one unused streaming subscription. The next day, you spend 5 minutes learning a basic pricing framework for a business idea, or you practice a specific 30-second networking pitch in the mirror. You aren't trying to master global finance in one sitting. You're just injecting one tiny, high-value, actionable piece of knowledge into your routine every single day. Now, if the idea of tackling high-income skills or investing frameworks still feels a little bit intimidating to you, I want you to remember this fundamental truth. Every profoundly successful person started out as an absolute beginner. It is so easy to look at financially literate individuals and just assume they were born with a Wall Street Journal in their hands, or that they have some unfair genetic advantage for math. But the source explicitly dispels that myth. They didn't know anything when they started. Nobody is born naturally knowing how to analyze a balance sheet or negotiate a higher salary. They had to start at zero, feeling just as overwhelmed as anyone else. The transition from a complete beginner to someone with lasting wealth isn't some dramatic, high-energy movie montage. It's actually just a quiet, pretty unglamorous daily routine. The roadmap breaks down perfectly into how you utilize those 5-minute pockets. It looks like reading just 2 pages of a financial book while your morning coffee is brewing. It's choosing to watch a quick, specific tutorial on a new software skill during your train commute instead of watching a random prank video. It's absorbing just one single concept today and then doing it again tomorrow. You simply repeat this for months and years. This simple 4-step daily repetition process is the exact, unflashy mechanism behind how massive wealth is systematically built. Which leaves us with the single most important question of this entire explainer. How are you going to spend your next 5 minutes? You know the undeniable math now. You know that 30 hours of life-changing financial education is sitting right there, hidden in the mundane, everyday pockets of your routine. You know the fundamental rule that money follows value, and you have the exact roadmap to build that value. Just one book page, one quick video, and one tiny lesson at a time. The blueprint is completely in your hands now. The choice of what you do when this explainer ends and your next 5 minutes begin is entirely up to you.